Vakwabona wakwetu nayo twaleta. So we're going to continue with quadratic equations. Today we're going to talk about the quadratic formula. Okay, so let us have the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. We are going to solve this equation by completing the square method. Okay, so this is our question. So let's follow the steps to solve the equation. The first step is to make sure that x squared has a coefficient of 1. Okay, so let's make the coefficient of x squared to be 1. So we're going to divide by a both sides. We divide this term by a, we divide this term by a, we divide this term by a, and we divide 0 by a. Okay, so this is what we have. A is going to cancel, okay, because a over a is going to give us 1. Then this will be b over a. Then this will be c over a is equal to 0 over a, resulting into x squared plus b over a x plus c over a is equal to 0. So we have finished our first step. Then step 2, transfer the constant to the left side of the equation. Okay, so this is our constant, so we transfer it to the left side or the other side of the equation. So what do we have? We have x squared plus b over a x is equal to minus c over a. We have finished our second step in completing the square method. So we go to the third step. Now add half of b over a to both sides of the equation and square it. Okay, so we are going to add half of this term to both sides of the equation. Okay, half of this term to both sides of the equation, and then we are going to square that term. Okay, so what is half of b over a? It is 1 over 2, okay, b over a. Then we square it, so minus c over a plus 1 over 2 b over a, then we square it. Okay, so this is it, x squared plus b over ax, then we add that term 1 over 2 b over a squared, and is equal to minus c over a plus 1 over 2 b over a squared. Okay, so we continue, x squared plus b over a, this just becomes b over 2a. Okay, 2 times a is 2a, 1 times b it's b. Okay, b over 2a squared is equal to minus c over a plus b over 2a squared. Okay, look at this term here, it is both sides same thing. Okay, so add in step 2, add half of this term and square it. So we have added and we have squared it. Now step 4, simplify. Okay, just simplify these terms. Okay, by simplifying now, remember we take the squared terms and put them in one bracket. So we take x and b over 2a. So x plus b over 2a squared. Okay, we take x and b over 2a. So x plus b over 2a squared. When we expand this term, we're going to get x squared plus b over a x plus b over 2a squared. Okay, so we have just simplified these terms. Okay, we have collected. Okay, we have collected them into one bracket, the squared ones. So x plus b over 2a squared. From this other side, from the left side, we simplify. Okay, minus c over a plus b over 2a squared. Now b squared is b squared, 2 squared is 4, a squared is a squared, so over 4a squared. So we continue simplifying. We take the term x plus b over 2a squared is equal to minus c over a plus b squared over 4a. So now this term we leave it as it is. Let's simplify the left side. Common denominator is 4a squared. Okay, a. So a into 4a squared it's 4a. It's 4a, okay? Because there are two a's here, so 1a will remain. So a into 4a squared, okay? It is 4a. So minus c times 4a plus 4a squared into 4a squared, it's 1. So 1 times b squared. So we remain with minus c 4a plus b squared over 4a squared, okay? So now this term remains as it is, x plus b over 2a bracket squared is equal to, we just rearrange this, okay, for it to look good. We start with a positive, so b squared minus, of course it's important to start with the constant 4, and we follow the letters in alphabet code AC, okay? So b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. So now we apply the square root from both sides of the equation, left hand side. So square root of x plus b over 2a bracket squared, and then plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4a, okay? We know why we put plus or minus, because this has two roots, okay? Now x plus b over 2a, because the squared cancelled with the root, is equal to plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Now the square root of 4, we know it is 2, and then the square root of a, it's a squared is a, okay? Square root of a squared is a. So we have simplified the bottom part. We have taken the square root of this part. This one, of course, we don't know what the square root is. So we remain with x plus b over 2a is equal to plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So now from this point now, we have to make x the subject to the formula by taking this term to the other side. So x is equal to minus b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4a c over 2a, okay? So here we know that this is the same, okay? The denominator is the same, so we can collect them. So common denominator 2a minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. So now this one, we can make it look nice, okay? X is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now for this to give us real roots, what is in the square root has to be greater than or equal to 0, or else there will be no real roots. It's going to have complex roots. That is another topic, okay? So for this equation to have real roots, okay, what is in the square root has to be greater than or equal to 0. All right, so now this is called the quadratic formula. It is used to approximate answers for difficult quadratic equations, those that we cannot solve by factorization or completing the square method. We have to call upon this formula. I mean, it is used to approximate. It is used to approximate those difficult equations. So there you are. You can solve all sorts of quadratic equations by the formula, okay? And you can see the example. Okay, example 1. Solve by the quadratic formula. X squared minus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. Solution. X is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So what is a? It is 1. Okay, the coefficient of x squared is 1. A is 1. B is minus 7. C is 12. The constant is 12. So we just get these values, put them into the equation, substitute them into the equation. So x is equal to minus b, so minus 7, okay, because b is minus 7, plus or minus square root of minus 7 squared minus 4, what is a, is 1, b is 12, okay? So 4 times 1 times 12 over 2a. So x is equal to 7 plus or minus square root of minus 7 squared is 49, okay? Minus 48, okay? Because 4 times 12 is 48 over 2. So x is equal to 7 plus or minus square root of 1 over 2. So x is equal to 7 plus or minus 1, which is the square root of 1, okay, over 2. Either x is equal to 7 plus 1 and 7 plus 1 over 2, or x is equal to 7 minus 1, okay, 7 minus 1 over 2. So x is equal to 8 over 2, or x is equal to 6 over 2. So x is equal to 4, or x is equal to 3. Okay, as I said, this method is used to approximate difficult quadratic equations. You will use the calculator mostly. You'll be allowed to use the calculator, okay? Yeah, I have, but I'm not gonna use. So now, number 2, solve by using the formula, okay? 2x squared plus 5x minus 4 is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So a is equal to 2, b is equal to 5, and c is equal to negative 4. X is equal to minus 5, which is b, plus or minus 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 4. This is under the square root, okay, over 2 times 2, because a is 2, okay? So x is equal to minus 5 plus or minus 5 squared is 25, plus when you multiply, you're gonna get 32, okay? Over 2 times 2 is 4, okay? Minus is positive, okay? So x is equal to minus 5 plus or minus the square root of 57 over 4. Of course, this is not the perfect square, so you need a calculator to find the square root, okay? So we have the square root of 57, okay? That's the square root of 57. 7.5498. So we can round off that, okay, to 7.55, okay? So minus 5 plus 7.55 over 4, okay? That's the square root. Or first of all, we take the plus, then the minus. X is equal to minus 5 minus square root of 57, which is minus 5 minus 7.55, okay, over 4. So x is equal to, when you do the operation there, 2.55 over 4, or x is equal to minus 12.55 over 4, okay? Then here again we have 2.55 divided by 4, okay? So we get 0.6375. So 0.6375, okay, as the first value of x, or minus 12.55 over 4 minus 3.1375, okay? So now these are the values we get. So if we say round off to 2 decimal places, of course this becomes 0.4, okay? X is equal to 0.64, or x is equal to minus 3.14 if we round off to 2 decimal places, okay? So this is where you need to use the formula, because you cannot find the exact solution. You have to approximate. Now example 3. X squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So x squared is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. A is 1, b is 2, c is 1. So x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus, why negative 2? Because b is 2. The square root of 2 squared minus 4 times a is 1 times c is 1 over 2a. A is 1, okay? That's 2. So x is equal to minus 2 plus or minus 2 squared is 4 minus 4, okay, over 2. So x is equal to minus plus or minus square root of 0 over 2. So this is minus plus or minus 0 over 2, which is just minus 2 over 2. And this is x is equal to negative 1. So in both cases, x1 is equal to negative 1 and x2 is equal to negative 2. So these kind of equations, they have got a special name, okay, which we are going to talk about later, okay, where a quadratic equation has one root, okay, that's special. So now look at this equation. This one, you cannot factorize it, okay? When you look at the equation like this is a quadratic equation. What should come to your mind is just the use of the quadratic formula, okay? Because these are real numbers of, decimal places. So you have to use the quadratic formula. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. A is the coefficient of x squared, which is 0.075, and b is 0.85, and c is minus 1. So we get these values, we put them in this equation. So we have minus 0.85 plus 0.85 squared minus this and that, okay? We're going to multiply. When we multiply, we are going to come down, okay, to this, all right? This our approximate answers. You can see I say x is not equal to 1, but x is approximately equal to 1, okay? Or x is also approximately equal to minus 12.3, all right? This, you just need to do this operation on the calculator, okay? You have to be careful to not make the mistake, okay? All right, thank you. This is enough for today, and we'll continue in the next video. But I'm going to pause now for quadratic equations. I'll go back to coordinate geometry. So yeah, and thank you. Stay well. You can add where it is inadequate.